my name is Natalia Christy Marsadu. I am from Group H, and here I will be the first speakers who will discuss about translation ethics. Translation ethics have been strictly defined as the practice to keep the meaning of the search text undistorted. Obviously, this notion of translation ethics is too restricted as the translator, in specific cases, is expressly required to distort the meaning of the original text to live up to the audience expectation, such as adapting the target text for children's story, televisions, advertising campaigns, etc. Translation ethics can be more complex from the translator's perspective. A number of thorny issues may confront the translator and pose potential problems with regard to how the translator can possibly deal with them. For instance, what should the translator do when required to render a text which is deemed offensive? What should he or she do when professional ethics are repugnant to his or her personal moral ethics? What should the translator do when he or she needs to translate a particular discourse which he or she doesn't agree with or does not feel comfortable translating it? Translators and interpreters should always bear in mind that they are not liable for the nature of the message, rather for conveying it adequately and precisely if they feel uncomfortable. Different studies and views on the concept of translation. Translation can be viewed as the most intimate act of reading. According to Western culture, translation has been seen as a communicative and intercultural process of transfer in which content is conveyed from one language into another. The point lies mainly in how a balance can possibly be struck between traditional translation, which usually thrives on literalism and hardly examines the quality of the target text, and the functionalist studies, which raise particular queries such as what purpose the target text is meant to serve in the target culture and who is responsible for commissioning the translation. Along similar lines, and within descriptive paradigms, Lefevre goes on to explore the impact of translation within ideological, cultural, and social settings. He argues that the validity of translation is determined by ideology than poetics.
My name is Plegamita Era and I'm the second speaker. And then I want to explain about Code ethic. Number one, professional conducts. Interpreters and translators act at all times in accordance with the standards of conduct and the decorum appropriate to the aims of outset. The National Professional Association of Interpreting and Translation Practitioners. Number two, confidentiality. Interpreters and translation maintain confidentiality and do not disclose information acquired in the course of their work. Number three, competence. Interpreters and translators only undertake work they are competent to perform in language for which they are professionally qualified through training and credentials. Number four, impartiality. Interpreters and translators observe impartiality in all professional contexts. Interpreters remain unbiased throughout the communication exchange between the participants in any interpreted encounter. Translators do not show bias toward either the author of the source text or the intended readers of their translation. Number five, Accuracy. Interpreters and translators ask their best professional judgment in remaining faithful at all times the meaning of text and message. Thank you.
Thank you, Pligia Metaera. I'm Rosuya Siantrelayo as the last speaker who will continue the sixth code of ethics. Clarity of rule boundaries. Interpreters and translators maintain clear boundaries between their tasks as facilitators of communication through message transfers and any task that may be undertaken by other parties involved in the assignment. Clarity of rule boundaries. The focus of interpreters and translators is on message transfer. Practitioners do not, in the course of their interpreting or translation that is, engage in the other tasks such as advocacy, guidance, or advice. Even where such other tasks are mandated by particular employment arrangements, practitioners insist that a clear demarcation is agreed on between interpreting and translating and other texts. For this purpose, interpreters and translators will, where the situation requires it, provide an explanation of their role in line with the principles of this code. Next, maintaining professional relationships. Interpreters and translators are responsible for the quality of their work, whether as employees, freelance practitioners, or contractors with interpreting and translation agencies. Maintaining professional relationships, interpreters and translators work in a variety of settings with specific institutional demands and a wide range of professional and business contexts. Some settings involve strict protocols where the interpreter or translator is a totally independent party, while others are marked by cooperation and shared responsibilities. Interpreters and translators must be familiar with this context and endeavor to have the people they work with understand their role. For practitioners who work through agencies, the agency providing them with the work is one of their clients, and practitioners maintain the same professional standards when working with them as when working with individual clients. At the same time, agencies must have appropriate and fair procedures in place that recognize and foster the professionalism of interpreting and translating practitioners. And next, professional development. Interpreters and translators continue to develop their professional knowledge and skills. Professional development. Practitioners commit themselves to lifelong learning, recognizing that individuals' service and practice evolve and change over time. They continually their language and transfer skills and their contextual and cultural understanding. They keep up to date with the technological advance pertinent to their practice in order to continue to provide quality service. Practitioners working in language where there is no standard training or credential may need to assess, maintain, and update their standards independently. And last, professional solidarity. interpreters and translators respect and support their fellow professionals, and they uphold the reputation and trustworthiness of the profession of interpreting and translating. Practitioners have a loyalty to the profession that extends beyond their individual interests. The support and further the interests of the profession and their colleagues and offer each other assistance. Okay, that's all the explanation about translation ethics from our group 5. Thank you for watching.